Now that you all sat down, can you rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Hi, Ron.
Hey.
Report of the chairman. Joe, we have some people to recognize here today.
We sure do. I'm really excited to introduce and recognize our retirees that are with us this evening, as well as the ones that are not here. At the district retirement celebration, end of year retirement celebration, a couple weeks ago, we celebrated these folks. I indicated that we have 19 retirees this year that have dedicated 441 years of service to the Monroe Public Schools. So it's really a testament to their careers and in this district. Sheila and I were actually, just as a little bit of a tangent here, but Sheila and I were just interviewing a new teaching candidate, and they asked, what is it about Monroe? I hear so many people talking about Monroe. And I said, it is a really special place. I said, people come here and they make this their home, and they don't leave until we kick them out or they retire. So definitely want to, before I introduce the 8 folks that are with us tonight, I do want to recognize those not in attendance. I'll just kind of list them in their years. Kathleen Ducharme, who is a librarian at Stepney, Massac, and STEM for 22 years. Lisa Klein, paraeducator at Fawn Hollow, 16 years. Christine Schwartz, also a paraeducator at Fawn Hollow for 22 years. Diane DiCamillo, who's a paraeducator at Massac for 22 years. Karen Smith, a paraeducator at Fawn Hollow for 23 years. Evelyn Ramos, a paraeducator at Jockey Hollow for 29 years. We also, at Fawn Hollow, Kevin Ironside, who's a longtime custodian, left as the head custodian at Fawn Hollow, finished up 27 years this year, retired a little bit earlier in the year. And then we had 4 teachers who are not with us tonight. Peggy Ann Diaz, culinary arts teacher here at Massac, just completed her 20th year. Dawn Parmley, also completing her 20th year as a Stepney Elementary School 5th grade teacher. Sheila Diner-Elsers, speech and language pathologist at most recently at Jockey Hollow, but had worked all over the district for 26 years. And then our most Monroe tenured teacher, Pete Schmidt, who retired from Massac High School after 34 years this year. So I wish all of them the best of luck. And then now, for the folks that are here, I hope they enjoyed. I hope I left them some food. I was hungry. That was dinner for me. I want to ask that they come up and be recognized. And Dave, if you want to do the honors of giving them a thing. As I call them up, and as you come up, please get your plate from the Board of Education, and just stay up here. We're going to take a group picture afterward. So first, paraeducator from Jockey Hollow, who just completed or is just completing her 25th year, Diane Garwacki.
I know they're going.
Oh, for pictures, yeah. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh, they're clearing out. They didn't dress up, except for Dennis. Here, you hold this. Thank you.
You can stay up here, Diane. From Stepney Elementary, a person who's worn a number of hats, from mother to PTO person to secretary to para to special education teacher. After 16 years, Ann Ryan.
Congratulations.
I don't know if the next person's out there. I had her as coming tonight from Monroe Elementary, our reading specialist, Bev Kovacek, after 18 years. Is Bev here? Oh, where's Bev? Oh, I didn't see you behind her. I'm sorry. After 20 years at Fawn Hollow as a special education teacher, Karen Fontenot. And working literally right beside her for after 21 years, Also a special education teacher from Fawn Hollow, some big shoes to fill in that room, Monica Brooks.
Joe, we actually live next door to you.
Literally. We want a picture. Lee wants her.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
After 26 years at Jockey Hollow, Lisa Roman.
Oh, one more.
27 years at Jockey Hollow, Laura Chadwick.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And retiring from Monroe Elementary after 27 years in Monroe, but a career that began in the 1970s in Massachusetts and Boston. Lori Ostroff, special education.
Can everybody scoot it together?
Nice and tight.
Look at Bill Carter.
Congratulations. Thank you. Very proud.
Everybody?
I was doing a sketch.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
And if you stay for the rest of the meeting, you only have to show up for half of a half day on Friday.
We gotta eat the cookies first.
Thank you all very much for your service. Take care.
Thank you. No one signed up for public participation? We'll let the room clear for a minute. Yeah, you can say, yeah. All right, is there anyone here for public participation?
That was them.
Anyone here for public participation? Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Any board members have any questions on the minutes? I saw they were corrected, thank you. Okay, moving right along. Any questions on the warrants? Moving right along. Any questions on the item C, the budget transfers? Pretty straightforward, within our policy. Okay, and Joe, notification of appointments?
Yes, I just, we have, there's actually 11 on here. There should actually be 10. We just learned today that one of the appointments, Julia DeVivo, special education teacher at Stepney Elementary, has actually decided to remain in the district she was in. So that name should be withdrawn. So we should have 10 folks on there. Julia DeVivo's name should be withdrawn as an appointment. And once again, we'll get a chance to meet all these folks when the beginning of the year starts. We're just about done, I think, especially with certified staff. We have, well, now we have another one, but about 4 more. Sheila?
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to fill them.
Yes.
And we're moving forward. Item number E, Joe and Ron, want to give us an update on next year's budget?
Yeah, so with this is, we just wanted to make sure everybody had a copy of this. We put it in the consent agenda. This is the final version of the Board of Education's adopted budget, less the $475,000 adjustment that was made at the first selectman's level, of which we had agreed that we would be using our BESSER funds to cover that. So this is just pushing everything out into that budget, so we know where it all is. I know years ago there was a plug in the budget and it never come before the board, so we want to make sure we got this budget to you as we're beginning to start into the new fiscal year.
And we're going to talk a little more about the budget under your report, so. Any questions on that? That's just we're doing okay with next year's budget. We'll talk about that more a little later under the superintendent's report. Any questions, comments on anything? May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Dennis, seconded. Jerry, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to the reports of the committees. I know our students are not here tonight. Do any board members have any committee reports?
CS.
Dennis.
Yeah, CS.
CS?
Yeah. They met, most of it was executive session, so I can't speak to it, but
Okay.
it was a quick meeting.
Okay, good. Any other committee reports?
The kids aren't here, but I'm sure Ron could give a report on how the softball team just did.
Softball team will be playing at UConn on Saturday.
Wow, good news. Good news.
And then
Excellent.
we have volleyball playing tomorrow in the state
We have,
semifinals.
yep, state semifinals.
Yep.
So we're proud of our athletes. Okay, we'll move on to the report of the superintendent. Joe?
Sure, just a quick reminder, the two ceremonies this week. Jockey Hollow starts at 6, and Massac starts at 6:30. The Jockey Hollow one will meet down on the field. We're already down there as they come in for those who are attending the ceremony. The Massac one, we start walking around 6:15. We meet in the school ahead of time. I'll send you an email about parking and whatnot, but that one starts at 6:30, but usually we start walking down probably around 6:15.
And rain calls will be made by 3?
We'd like to make the rain calls, make the rain calls by 3 o'clock, so hopefully that's not an issue.
Okay.
I'd just like to ask Jen to come up and talk a little bit about the June special education report, which is really the May superintendent special education report.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so if you look in your packet, our enrollment, we didn't have any students that moved into district in the month of May. We had 3 students that were dismissed from services and 7 students who were made eligible. That brings our total to 589 at this moment. So that's where we are for this year for enrollment. So if you're looking at our finances, we're closing POs daily. So you'll see various lines. You'll see an increase in available budget funds. We're going to keep working on this through the end of June. So our outside agencies line now shows that we have an increase of approximately $19,000 because we're closing out, making some payments on invoices and then closing out our POs. We also see an increase in our tuition public line by $20,000 due to programming changes. And also our reach line has increased, our spending has increased on that line due to student placement. Spending on our homebound line has also increased about $6,500, and just so that everyone understands that if a student is hospitalized, they still receive tutoring services, whether they are special education students or regular education students. So we pay those fees when the students are in the hospital. And lastly, our other professional independent line has increased about $8,500. But the really good news is that we did get our money, our $203,000. So that is about $109,000 more than we anticipated, which shows that our final balance at the moment is $93,000. So we're very happy.
Absolutely.
So that's where we are at this moment. Does anybody have any questions?
Good work.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
I have on the next piece, budget transfers. It's not to be confused with the budget transfers that are down below. This is really more of a heads up that as we close POs and work towards our end of year final numbers for this fiscal 22-23, we'll probably need a meeting. We don't have a second meeting in June. Our next meeting is July 17th. Our next scheduled meeting is July 17th. And really, we would probably Ron would have a number of transfers at that meeting as we look to make everything whole. Pretty fair, Ron?
Accurate.
So, just throwing it out there, we have a meeting scheduled for July 17th. If we needed to make it, if that day happens to be bad for, we can't get a quorum, maybe we can look at another day, but we have some time to figure that out.
Okay.
Okay. And the last piece is, as we're starting to meet with the principals and look at next year, we've added a section at of kindergarten at Fawn Hollow, a section of kindergarten at Stepney, and as a result of that, we currently have some of our Unified Arts teachers. Unified Arts is our PE, music and art at the elementaries, who are at their maximum contractual capacity with 48 sections. We did, a couple years ago, we did hire a couple of, or last year, for this current school year, we hired a couple of .4 FTE teachers to pick up some extra sections. We're actually going to have to increase 2 of those to an additional .2 to pick up the new sections, because they'll each have 2, usually PE and music meet twice a week for 30 minutes, and art meets once a week for 45 minutes. So I think we should be able to cover, we'll be able to cover it, but I just wanted to keep everybody aware of what's going on.
And Joe, as we talk, we'll talk more about budget too, but as we talk more about that, perhaps once Ron talks to a little more of our potential surplus for this year, maybe we can pick off some of those other projects so that next year we're not in the hole.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about with the 40 or 41,000 that we're short, so
Yeah.
we'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
is that it, Joe?
That's it.
Okay, and we have a presentation. Paul, would you like to come up, please?
I want to thank Paul for coming up. This is something we've been working on for a very long time. Prior to me even taking this position, I want to thank Paul and his team for putting this together. Currently, we're in a position to go 1-to-1 from grades 3 to 12. 1-to-1 meaning that we have a device, we have a district device for every kid in grades 3 through 12. Right now, at the elementary schools, we have a pretty good system, and we don't think we're going to change it, and that is there is a laptop cart in every third, fourth, and fifth grade room. Every kid has a laptop that's assigned to that student. They take it out for the day, they put it back in, they charge it, and it stays there. They don't necessarily take it home. What we're looking to do at the middle school first, starting in grades 6, 7, and 8, and I don't want to get too much into Paul's presentation, is
Go right ahead.
You just click it. Click the slides.
is give every kid in grades 6, 7, and 8 a district-owned device, starting with the 6th graders getting the newest laptops, because they would then have them throughout their 7 remaining years. And Paul's very confident that those Chromebooks will last, for what we need for state testing, college board testing, throughout 11th grade. So we would start 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then we were actually thinking of starting 6 through 9. We've gotten some feedback already that some people for 8th grade, stepping up, graduation, whatever you want to call it, have already purchased Chromebooks for their kids for 9th grade next year. So we're going to start in 6 through 8 this year, and then next year it'll be 6 through 9, the following year 6 through 10, 6 through 11, 6 through 12. So those kids that are in 8th grade now are going to get their device, and they'll keep it throughout high school, as well as these 6th and 7th graders now. And so, we're about 4 years away from being completely 1-to-1 at the secondary level with, the middle school and the high school. And like I said, the elementaries, they were like, we don't want to do this. We don't want the kids taking them home, bringing them back. They're gonna break. It's working right now with what we're doing. Paul's going to talk about some of the reasons why we're doing this. To me, the two biggest things are student safety. We have way more control over what the kids can go on. We've talked about this a little bit at a previous meeting. We have a way more prerogative of what the kids can access if they're using our devices. And it also allows us to have a formal deployment plan with the Chromebooks. We're always seem to be kind of chasing ourselves. This will put us on a schedule every year for a certain amount of laptops. So, Paul, I'll kick it over to you.
Any questions?
Good night.
All right, thanks, Joe. So as Joe alluded, really a big thing, and a lot of districts are 1-to-1 now, right? So one of the big things is by giving students our district devices, it ensures that the students are using a standard technology. We control it, we can modify it, we can monitor it, we can do everything that we need to do, but they're not coming in with their own device. And that's important on several levels. One being, I have no way of knowing if a student brings in a laptop, connects to the Wi-Fi, and it's got a virus. How would I know that? There's no way to know that. And right now, the way it's set up, that could be a possibility. Second of all, if a student brings in a device that is cellular enabled, they bypass all of our filtering, they bypass our firewall, they've got basically carte blanche because they're using a cell signal, and we can't control that. So this would replace the BYOT initiative for those grades. So we would not allow personal devices for those grades that get a one-to-one device. So they'll get issued a Chromebook, and that will be what they use for their instructional time here. As Joe alluded to, it also provides a defined plan for the timely Chromebook replacements. We're going to buy some for the lower grades, but we'll know every year the incoming 6th grade students are going to require Chromebooks. So it makes it a lot easier to manage. It also simplifies the asset management because we've got thousands of devices, and it's very hard to keep track right now of, and we do a really good job, all things considered, but it's very difficult for us to nail down every one of these devices all the time. Sometimes it's impossible. A couple of examples of this, coming off of COVID, we had a slew of Chromebooks that were missing. Nobody knew where they were. So in our console, we went and disabled them. Well, the minute a Chromebook that was disabled was opened and it connected to the internet, it came up with a message saying, contact the IT department. We recovered pretty much all of them because now they were useless.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of, so this is good for that because now, and Dennis, I'll pick on you. We assign you a Chromebook. We know in both Power School and our admin console, it was assigned to you. So if it goes missing or it gets stolen, we know that it was your Chromebook. This also assures that devices are going to be available to students that need them. And it'll help maintain a level budget request based on our population. And as Joe said, this plan will carry forward beginning with the next school year. So 6 to 8 now, and then they'll just keep moving up. And we'll just keep giving 6th graders new devices, and they'll go up until they graduate. So how is this going to work? So for 6th graders, they are going to get brand new Chromebooks that we will be purchasing after July 1st. And they will be assigned, as I said, to the individual students, and they will keep that same device until they graduate. What's also a plus too is we don't need to have them back for the summer. They were issued to you. Any updates will happen over the air. We don't need to touch them, which will be a huge savings for us over the summer. Because right now, we literally go to every building, every room, collect every Chromebook that we can find, and we re-inventory it. It is just a colossal waste of time. So to have it assigned to a student, we know that student has it, and they'll have it till they graduate. For 7th and 8th, they're going to get the newer, they're not going to get brand new, but they're going to get newer Chromebooks that we have in our fleet that will carry them through till they graduate. And same thing, it'll be assigned individually, and they'll get to keep it till they graduate, and they can keep it over the summer recess for summer projects, summer work, things of that nature. For the rest of the grades, 9 through 12, we have students that use these devices now. They don't have their bring your own technology. So we will continue with this model, however, with a twist. They will get, if a 9th grader wants a Chromebook, they will get a Chromebook assigned to them, and they'll get to keep it through 12th grade. Okay, so same idea, but we are allowing BYOT for those grades. So if somebody does have a brand new Chromebook in 9th grade, or a 10th grader that just got a brand new computer this year, we'll allow them to continue to use it until they graduate out.
One question.
Yes.
But without the securities that you have on the Chromebook, correct?
I'm sorry,
Those devices will not have the securities that you have in the Chromebooks.
the bring your
Bring
own
your
tech,
own, right.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And, yeah, I mean, there is really nothing that we can do with the bring your own technology devices. I mean, we can help them out, help them get on the Wi-Fi, but a lot of times what we find is these devices that are given to students, they don't have administrative rights, right? Because the
okay.
parents set it up for them. There's nothing we
Okay.
can do, so. So, as part of this deployment, what we are going to do is the technology department will pre-assign these devices to students in Power School. So, for example, and I spoke with Julia this morning, her hundreds of Chromebooks that we're going to bring over will already have the student's name on the charger and the device, and it'll already be entered into Power School, so they will literally just need to go to the pile, find the device for the child, student, and hand it out. We are going to, like I said earlier, we will account for the devices in both Power School and the Google Admin Console, which is our main repository for everything Google. And then loaners, let's say, again, Dennis, I'll pick on you.
Okay.
Let's say you had a problem with your device. You can go bring it to the library media specialist in your building and say, I have a problem with the device. The library media specialist will then open up a ticket with the help desk, just a simple email. Say, I've got a Chromebook here, belongs to Dennis, his screen doesn't light up. You will get issued a loaner. We'll record that in Power School. We will then look at that device, repair it as necessary, give it back to you, okay? However, let's say Dennis decides to take his Chromebook and use it as a doorstop and smashes the screen.
Almost happened this morning.
See? We're going to offer students, optionally, families, they can buy insurance, like a self-insurance type of policy for $35 a year, and we will cover the entire device. Okay, if it gets,
That's a sweet deal.
yeah, if it gets smashed, if you lose the charger, okay, it'll cover one full replacement. And we'll cover any non-abuse repair, meaning, hey, my keyboard, this key isn't working anymore. It happens, all right? We'll cover it, not a problem. We'll take care of it in-house. However, if, like we used Dennis as an example, he takes it and smashes it over,
Whatever.
we won't cover that, and that'll be in the contract. We don't cover, abuse to the equipment. The monies that we collect from this insurance will then be deposited into this technology Chromebook fund. That fund is going to cover any repairs that come up that are eligible, but also, as time goes on, we can use that funding to help offset the cost of buying new Chromebooks. So hopefully it would become like a self-sustaining fund in a few years.
I have a question on that, Paul.
Yes.
Do other towns, what's the amount of families who join the insurance program off the top of your head? Is it pretty large in other towns? Do most join it? I mean, it's a low fee, right?
It is.
I mean, so I was just trying to get a take of, how many families are actually get into it so we have a fund?
Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, Jerry, I don't have an exact number.
And
I-
there wouldn't be any hard data on that. It was just,
Not yet.
Not without polling like different districts.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Where does the $35 per year come from?
So that really comes from the cost of the device over 7 years. Because they'll have it for 7 years, right? 6 through 12. So,
It's a good deal.
yeah, I mean, if they don't take the insurance, and it's, again, completely optional, and there is a need to replace the device because of abuse, it's $250.
Right.
If they lose the charger, it's $50. And that, I'm not marking this stuff up. I wish I were, because we'd have a nice cookout behind IT, little pig roast. But it literally costs us $50 to replace a charger every time they go missing. So, you know, and the chargers are a separate device. They go missing. It happens. But for $35 a year, you're covered.
So I'm gonna ask the real idiotic question here. How do we track them when they move? So
What do you
Jerry has his Chromebook, right?
Yep.
And the family puts the house in the market and they move. How do we?
Power School.
Well, it's Jerry, if it's your family, they're leaving you here.
So we do it through Power School, but I mean, how do we physically get it back? I understand how we track it through Power School. My actual take on this is, how many do you think we will not recover in a year?
All of them, you cut it off.
Yeah.
Shut
Yeah.
it down, it's useless.
And the parents have to, when they go to withdraw, they've
withdraw,
got to do all the withdrawal paperwork. and
Yeah.
everything else. So part of that process,
Gotcha.
you got to return, just like now,
Or like
you
take
got to
the
return
grades
your
to the
text
next
back. You
school.
got to return
Right.
your textbooks before
Yep.
you.
Right.
you
And same thing with graduation too.
Yes.
You know, so it'd be like the same type of process.
Sounds
So
good.
let's say, yep, Jerry, you're gonna graduate, your congratulations, but we need that
We
Chromebook
need
back.
Chromebook, yeah.
Yeah, or
I
they
don't
don't release
have it.
records.
Okay, well, it's either $250 or, you know,
Oh, it's dysfunctional.
And for people that move, a lot of districts won't release the records to take with them to the new district if they don't bring their textbooks and their Chromebooks.
right.
With purchasing a whole fleet, is there a discounted rate? We're going to be purchasing what, 3 grades worth of Chromebooks at one time?
No,
Just-
we're really one grade.
Just the
this year,
6th grade?
Yeah, and some additionals. But to answer your question, the devices we buy are off a state contract. So we get state pricing, so rock bottom. But yeah, it's, you know, it is, for what we're getting, it really is the best price.
And the last one I had, I don't know if you're going to get to it, the 7-year life cycle, right? So we're going to hand it to them in 6th grade, they're going to carry it for 7 years. What's the assurance that because obviously software updates will maintain that, but you're confident the hardware will be relevant 7 years later?
Yes, yes.
Is that because just the amount of,
By nature of the Google platform, because really at the end of the day, the biggest thing is the browser on a Chromebook, right? I mean, that's really, I don't want to say that's all you can do with those things, but that's what they're ported for, is the Google Chrome browser. And hey, we're a Google Chrome, you know, Google for Education school. So everything is based on that Chrome browser. So yeah, when you get to, you know, year 7, are you gonna get the updates of the latest and greatest for the browser updates? No, you won't. Although they are starting to shift. They are extending the lifespans of what they support with Google. You know, it used to be a firm 5 years, and now it's kind of like, well, 6, and now we're starting to see, well, a little beyond 6. So.
you know,
So how are you going to ensure the students bring the computer and not their own? Or is there any penalty? Like if I said, oh, you know, I don't feel like using the school computer, I have my own MacBook, and I'm going to bring that.
So that's a great segue into my next slide, so thank you. So for this, students will need to abide by a one-to-one handbook, excuse me, that we're currently working on, that will basically say you are getting a district-owned device and that's what you're going to use. You know, at that point, it'll be up to, you know, the schools, the teachers, administration to
Right, so
enforce.
but there's no enforcement. I mean,
Well, they'll have to enforce it. I mean, they'll have to agree to, you know, this
right, you
is.
could agree to that, but you don't have to necessarily bring in that laptop. You can bring in your own. I'm just playing devil's advocate, you
Right,
know?
and when the parents complain about what sites they're going to, we can say,
Well, right, you
It's on
could,
you.
but some may not. I'm just saying, like, you know, some parents might say, I bought my kid a MacBook and that's what they're gonna use, and,
Technology and the internet is a little hard to monitor, you
Yeah.
know, with this many kids. And
I'm just curious, like, is it the teacher's responsibility to say, oh, you're not using your district?
That kind of leads into my question. My question is, so we're mandating this. Does that require a policy change? And same page, Christine, I'm that parent that says, no, I don't want to buy the insurance. I don't want the responsibility of it. I'll give them my old one, and that's it. Are we saying, no, this is the policy and this is how we're going to do it? So therefore, if a teacher sees a MacBook come in, that teacher's gonna have to say, sorry, you can't use this. Where's your Chromebook?
Right.
Is that where we're going? Because then we may need a policy change, Shannon, maybe?
Awful.
Is,
Probably either a policy change or something to the acceptable use policy, or including.
And I like the plan, I'm just,
Right.
I think we're all thinking of
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
pros and cons
Right,
here.
me too. That, I'm just trying to think like,
My kids get my old devices, and then.
right,
Do we really want to get into mandating something, though?
right.
I think that's the question. Do we want to give them the choice? Obviously, this is a very good option,
Right.
and kind of encourage it that way, but do we want to get into mandating something?
I think you have to spell out the stipulations of if you choose to go a different route. These are the risks you're putting on your
Correct.
kids.
Yep, educate them on what it is and
Right.
like a
Right.
waiver?
give
We've
them
got
the choice.
security here, we've got safeguards in place.
Yeah.
We're here to protect your kids. If you choose not to and go your own route, you take full responsibility for that device and your kid.
Can they like sign a waiver of some
Right.
sort like
Right.
that?
Yeah,
Sign a release.
but then we're opening up
Yeah,
ourselves.
I think it's all.
Right.
This is the policy debate,
Yeah.
and then we're opening up ourselves to what Paul is sitting here
Right.
warning us about.
Right.
All right, so but
exactly, yeah.
Paul, we've already done this for however many years, bring your own technology for like a long time, since STEM, I think the inception of STEM.
Yeah.
Has it been like a problem? Like, I mean, more than,
What's been a real problem is students circumventing
Right.
our systems here by using.
VPNs and.
Yeah, by using VPN, by using cellular connections.
right, so if I had my, and I'm not a tech person, I'm the opposite of a tech person, right? But if I had a Google Chromebook from the school, can I go on, use the hotspot on my phone and then,
You can, but guess what? When you sign in, we can lock these things out and say you have to use your MonroePS.net account. You have to use a
so if I go
Monroe
into a
PS.
hotspot, you're gonna
So,
shut it down?
Well, it doesn't matter what the connection to the internet is, all the filtering is still there because it's based on your login to MonroePS.net.
Right, but Paul, what you're saying basically though is with a personal device, an iPad with a cell service on it or something like that, or a hotspot like Shannon said, you can be sitting in class with open web, right, looking at whatever you want to look at.
Yeah.
You could do that with your phone, though,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So, Jewel, did you want to talk about your experience at the middle school?
Yeah, sure. I'm grateful that this conversation's happening. I thank you for bringing this
Have a
forward.
seat.
But I did want to, I did want to address the question about, the transition to telling kids we're going to all be using district devices. And it is something we're already doing. Like, we tell kids, you can't use your phone in class. And, that kid might have a calculator app on their phone, but we tell them we're not using phones as calculators because it's too much of a distraction, and the kids abide by that. We tell them you have to wear the uniform for the basketball game, even if they have a red t-shirt, they still have to wear the school uniform. We want you to write in pencil for your math, not with pen, because we want you to be able to erase it. And so, we do have precedent for saying this is how we're going to do things in this setting, and the kids and the teachers figure those things out and get along together with it. I do think it's a transition, but the benefits of being able to have a more secure environment and more control over student engagement as well as student safety during learning is really, really worth us having to navigate carefully the new parts of it.
And to Joe's point earlier, this has been an ongoing rollout across the state for probably 10 years now. So we're not the first district to move towards this.
And it is saving parents the money
Yeah.
on a device.
I mean, I'm just curious, like,
Must
do we need a
expect it.
policy? Is it mandated?
I
I
would
mean,
think we
all
would
these
need a
other
policy.
bigger questions that
Yeah.
really, because you could say that, but that doesn't mean that it's enforceable, right?
Without a policy.
Without a policy, or
Right.
without, and it's the parents who have to agree, right? Because so there's a lot of more than just rolling it out. I think we have to look
Right.
at the other side of
Right,
it.
there needs to be a plan
Correct.
for the rollout.
Right.
I do think there needs to be something on the acceptable use policy though, for a one-to-one.
Mhm.
So some action items I think we could bring to our next meeting, whenever that is that plan.
Policy.
Roll out in the handbook and
Right, the
any kind of
handbook.
policy changes that we.
It's not over the summer.
It's not, I'd say we don't
But
have a
he's
policy.
saying action items for the policy,
To
so
add
like
to
if
the
they talk about
policy.
it at the next meeting to go on to
Right.
the next
But I'm
policy.
saying our
meeting,
next
then-
policy meeting is probably not till
Probably not till
September,
September.
which is prior to that.
No, that's a problem.
Well,
Right.
we've always said if we needed to throw in another meeting, we
Yeah,
could
we
squeeze in a
could.
meeting, so.
Yeah, we could.
I know it's
Yeah.
the three of us, but
Right.
it's not a problem, I mean, if we
And
had
I'm
to do
sure
it.
there
We could
is
do it.
language already out there, because
I'm sure.
There
has
is,
to
we've
be.
been
it's a
using some-
widespread thing.
But we
Yeah, a
would
lot of
need
handbooks.
that to be in
Medical
place
education.
prior to
Start of school.
start of school.
Because even when your kids
If
go to
that's-
Which is
college,
2 meetings as well, because we have to do a second review.
Correct.
And even, that's something you could review, I would imagine, at 6th grade orientation as they're coming in.
Are we comfortable moving forward and following up with policy?
I think we need some more input.
Well,
I mean, I don't know whether your guidance counselors here check, but, you know, when my kids were going to college, the colleges mandated what PCs they'd have. So, you know, when you're a senior, you're thinking of buying somebody a computer, you know, you may want to add that to the conversation to the parents and educating why you want to do Chromebooks now. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but, you know, I know NYU did, Hofstra didn't, but, you know,
Wait, when
depends
you-
on where your kids are going.
When you say they mandated the computer, did they control everything that was on it?
They didn't control everything on it, they just said, this is the
Mandate
device
what
we're
kind,
using,
right?
this
Right.
is how much it needs, so many gigabytes,
But
whatever.
not every college is like that.
Yeah.
What?
Not every college is
Not,
like
that's
that.
what I'm saying, it's kind of
Yeah.
a guidance counselor input. You know, you're sending kids to college, what are the expectations,
Well,
do we know?
Well, I understand
Because the senior year could be rough, if you're forcing a Chromebook on them, and like, well, they gotta get ready for college, and what am I gonna have them use, you know?
I can understand a college saying, here's the specs of a computer that they, because they
That's what they do.
performance-wise, whatever, but the idea of controlling the device, right, that wasn't a factor, it was just more.
No,
perspective.
not as it was back then, I don't know what it is today,
Well,
that's
they're
why I'm
adults.
questioning my.
Yeah.
Because they're adults.
They
So,
are
yeah.
You know, if I.
Right, we're talking
We're
6th
talking
graders.
children.
Yeah, I mean, let me pose this question to you. From the board's perspective, what is our obligation to provide internet access to students?
Obviously.
For school use only.
Right.
School use only, keep them secure, that's our obligation.
To access education.
Okay, right? Because it's really no different than a tool like a book or a ruler, right? Now, that said, in today's environment, and with all the threats that we face, doesn't it make sense that we should control what accesses our network? We're making a significant change to the Wi-Fi here across all the schools. And one of the changes that we're doing is we are going to, like right now at Massac, we have two networks here. Okay, one is Massac Wi-Fi or Massac Wireless, and that's for district-owned devices only. And that's currently up and running. Then we also have Massac Public, and that's for the public to use. But the thing is that Wi-Fi right now, that public Wi-Fi can access resources on the network. Printers, things like that. That's gonna stop. So here's the thing, you know, we have a student that brings in BYOT and is gonna expect to be able to access network resources. They're not going to be able to
They won't
because
print.
it's not a district-owned device. And therefore, the only thing they're gonna get is filtered internet unless they use a cellular connection.
And they can't download any apps or anything onto these devices.
On the
Right.
managed, right,
Right.
on the district-owned devices, that's correct.
We don't need to download, it's all
That's,
internet-based, right?
No, some.
No,
You gotta have
like
access to
even
it.
even the internet-based stuff, like, you know, for the browser, there's plugins and extensions that you can, which, you know, but they can cause a lot of problems.
Right.
We've seen it.
Paul, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but I want to ask the budget question. This all fits into, the purchase of all these Chromebooks fits into your 5-year plan. It was capital, now it's operating
Right.
and some capital. But there's nothing additional here?
Correct, correct.
What are some, maybe Julia or Steve can answer this, but like, what are some of the problems you see with kids bringing their own technology home?
I think Paul really said it well when he was talking about the cellular data. So, you know, you can't get onto TikTok, for example, or Discord on a school-issued Chromebook, but the student sitting next to the kid with the school-issued device who maybe has a MacBook or MacBook or even an iPad from home that has a cellular data connection can be on Discord or TikTok, so, you know, right there next to the their classmate. And, you know, that's a problem for us. We don't, in middle school, we don't use the phones in class as a tool because the phones are so distracting. The kids get so off task when they have their phones in front of them that we keep the phones away. And anything you might do in your phone, we do through a different device, either a Chromebook or a calculator. And so that device from home can serve the same role as the phone. It can be full of all the things that we're not using in school today, but the kid has, you know, sort of unrestricted access to it. And because that is also, you know, they're telling the teacher, that's also my school device for today because I brought it from home. So it's harder to keep track that they're on the, you know, the activity for school at that moment. So this would allow us to just increase student engagement. I mean, I would like to be able to minimize the number of tabs open for a kid when they're doing a task with
So
their
with the
classmates.
Chromebook initiative, basically what will happen is you're just gonna obviously be able to block all that nonsense. And they're here to learn, and everything they access on the internet will be for learning in school. They wanna do that stuff at home, that obviously that's fine, but when they're here.
Well, do it at home and on their own device.
Yeah.
Right, they're right, because they still, even when they bring our Chromebook home, they're still not gonna be able to do anything that they would be able
Because
to
I'll
do here.
register with.
Correct.
On a school-issued Chromebook, you can still open up 7 different tabs, and you can still be distracted, and you know you still have to work on focus. And we have to teach kids how to work with focus on the internet. But the different places they can go are all protected by our Monroe PS firewall. That they're not protected.
Well, that's what I'm saying, they're here to learn, not here
Right.
to
On their
shop
school,
or
on their own devices.
do other stuff.
the bottom line.
Yeah.
They could do that at home, on their own device.
Correct, yeah.
It's an education.
Yeah. Paul, are you done? I want you to get through your slides.
Let me wrap this up. So.
Before you do
Hopefully the
that,
next
Yeah.
slides is any
we're buying
questions.
1 year's worth. Is there any benefit in buying 2 years' worth from an economic standpoint?
No.
Okay.
And the reason being is because there's a finite life to these, right? So we
Right,
don't
so
want
you're
to.
shorting it by.
Right,
7,
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, so we can figure out the logistics with the handbook and policy, but it would be a requirement that the students would acknowledge each school year that, okay, we're 101 and this is the handbook, and everything that goes with that. Chromebooks turned in at graduation, 12th grade, will be redeployed for the non-testing grades or used for parts. You know, a lot of these screens and keyboards are standard across the different platforms. So I know at one point there was a question about, well, can we just give the student the Chromebook, or, you know, can they buy it? You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a 7-year-old device and giving it to a student, even if we collected a fee for it, which would be even worse, but say, here, you can keep it, because now it really is end of life. I mean, we can use it for like a first grade classroom, because again, it's filtered internet, it's more secure. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving a 7-year-old device out to a graduate saying, here's your first computer post high school, have fun, you know, and then get breached, so. And we're at the end.
There we are.
Any additional questions?
Just one question. Maybe Steve can answer it too. When we're talking about the end of the life, right? They're going to be a junior or senior. Is there anything on I mean, in the Chromebook that they would need, a junior or senior would need to access that, you know, they wouldn't normally, they couldn't on a Chromebook, you know, for schoolwork or whatever?
No. No, the testing that we do is
Good answer.
able to be done on it. It's what we use now for the tests, so no. My concern is the 7 years. I think it's pushing.
I look at my own kids, and I can't tell you how many Chromebooks I've already replaced. And, you know, they're in 4th and 6th grades.
$35,
And I can
$35.
guarantee you,
Yeah.
it's not gonna last 7
Yeah,
years.
7 years is my concern.
That's my own kids. I mean, I've
I
replaced.
agree.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I replaced
Every
it
year
for
I
2 and
replace
6
the library book from Stepney. You know, you know what I mean? I have a real issue with saying it's gonna last 7 years. I've bought probably dozens of chargers for said Chromebooks, that my daughters have. I would be very concerned about the lifespan part of this.
Yeah, no, I get it, but you'd probably be shocked to know that we had 7-plus-year-old Chromebooks still in circulation. Obviously not for the grades that test, okay, but certainly the lower grades, we've loaned them out for onesie-twosies here and there. I mean, yeah, listen, the other alternative is, okay, then we split it, right? We do a few years, and then, but now we're buying not just grade 6, now we're buying grade 6 and let's say grade 9 or grade 10. Then it becomes a very expensive proposition. And keep in mind, we still have to keep somewhat current with grades 3 through 5, because they do SBAC testing, and so we can't ignore them either. We have to make sure that we have enough devices even for those grades as well.
Paul, it's pretty standard policy, districts in the state to provide technology, correct? Is there any requirements from the state on it? I mean, it's the way of the world, right? I mean,
Is there
unfunded
something,
mandate?
is there one unfunded mandate they haven't thought of yet?
No, but I'm saying it's a standard, right?
Yeah.
I would think so. I know my youngest, who's graduating from Bunnell this coming weekend, I mean, he's had a Chromebook now for the last couple of years. I mean, they've been one-to-one, Stratford's been one-to-one for a while now.
So when these seniors graduate, instead of throwing up the Chromebook with their hat, they can give him to Jeff, since he's going to Chick-fil-A.
At least they're cords, he'll take the cords.
Have you discussed with any other districts that are fully implemented one-to-one and gauged whether or not they're seeing a 7-year?
Yeah, I think 7 years
Lifespan?
pushing it.
Specifically 7 years, no. But, again, just based on experience with our own fleet, I mean, I think it's doable. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I definitely think it's.
You're always going to have those exceptions, right? But what's the
Yeah, no,
general
I get it.
thing?
I mean, you
So-
have the insurance and the replacement costs.
But you're replacing them now, because they're out there now, right? So this is making it a bigger net, but, you still have ones that break now, and they fix them or replace them, right? So
Right,
it's
but if
just-
we implement the program and
Right.
go one-to-one, and then we find out 3 years into a 7-year program, they're not lasting 7
Right.
years.
Right, right.
then-
Or it's
Well, the
a
model
parent,
that we're-
my kid
the-
breaks their computer and I only get one replaced a year, and now I'm putting out, $250. I'm gonna be like, I'd rather just buy my own computer. At least I know with whatever, I buy a MacBook and they're a lot more careful with it. My son broke 2 Chromebooks in 1 year, but his MacBook, been perfect.
Wow.
So, because he's a lot more cautious with it, right?
But why? Why
'Cause
is he
knows
more
how- 'cause
cautious
he
with a
knows how much more
MacBook?
expensive it is.
Well,
100%.
Or that mom's going to kill him?
Exactly, and he knows
What
that
is
I
it?
will not buy
okay,
another one.
well, all right.
School owned and mom owned.
Yeah, okay, so
Something to be said.
that aside, look, I'm also basing it off our experience. I mean, the models that we're buying, they're not the bottom rung model. I mean, these are Lenovo Chromebooks. Lenovo is a good brand. We use them district-wide. We buy Lenovo desktops and laptops, and I mean, they're solid products.
Paul, whether we do this or not, we're still buying X amount of Chromebooks no matter what. Whether
Correct.
we do this or not, right?
Correct.
A lot to be said about what, Jerry's saying, mom-owned, school-owned, right? This is all gonna be school-owned. But what if you made it mom-endorsed or dad-endorsed? Like they put $10 in to do this, something. So they have some skin in the game to say, I bought this, you're gonna use it, and just a thought.
Well, they do, because if they get one a year under the insurance, and then the next one they're paying for.
Under the insurance, but
Right.
if you start off with a gimme, knowing that you're going through so many charges or so many Chromebooks, at least you have a pot of funds to dig into if that sudden occurrence that Jeff was talking about happens, and all of a sudden we're turning them over faster. At least you have a pot of funds to say, yes, and mom and dad have, yeah, I put $20 in, and you're gonna use this thing because it's safe for you to use, or something. I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number, but, and then at least you have a pot of funds to do replacements if you are having a sudden rush of equipment. Just throwing it out there for discussion.
So here's the question. This is our meeting for this month. We have one meeting in July. We usually cancel the meeting in August. Right? Policy would have to bring this up in September. So are we comfortable with this presentation enough to trust the people that work for us, let them go forward with this plan, and they will have to submit some draft policy to us, and then that'll have to go to policy committee and get vetted through 2 meetings. We'll have to have a discussion again. We can get an update from Paul at that time. We're buying Chromebooks anyway, but so that's my question to the board. Are we okay with this for right now? And then let's get it vetted through our policy committee and then another full discussion. Jeff, what do you think about it?
Is this to be implemented for next school year? And this is, correct me if I'm wrong, you said it's already budgeted, there would be no change. So you're going to be buying these Chromebooks no matter
Anyway.
what?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct, yeah.
Does the policy have to mandate the school issued, or can the policy just state the computer that needs to be used, AKA Chromebook with X specs or whatever, right?
The answer to that question is it could be whatever we want. Do we want to accept the recommendation of our staff?
Because the hypothetical is that the majority of parents are going to say, sign me up for a free computer. That's the reality of it. Rather than having PCs and MacBooks be a part of the menu, is it just, your kid has to come to class with this computer, we're offering this one for free, right? This is the other option. If you want to buy a Chromebook, here's the Chromebook option, right?
It's your biggest expense off of your
Right.
back to school
So you could have one
supplies
for
list.
free and pay $35 for insurance, which, let's be honest, I mean, who
It's
wouldn't
cheap,
take the
right.
deal?
No, I think if you educate them as to the ramifications of why we're doing it, the disruptions in class, the security aspects, and you educate the parents as to why this is a good idea for you, I think we'll have a lot easier implementation.
And Justin, to your point, I mean, you know, listen, you can probably go find a Chromebook for $100, okay? But, and a parent could go out and buy that Chromebook for $100 and just say, oh, I'll take my chances. But again, here's the problem. It's no longer a district-owned device. So we have no control over that device. We cannot mandate that you have to use your MonroePS.net account to log in. So you can use any Google account, and then there go all the restrictions right out the window. So,
That would be a very small minority of folks, though, in reality. Right? And that's what I'm saying. I just,
Yeah, I think you're right, but
Yeah.
we won't know until we implement it.
And here's the other thing too, is we educate them, we're grooming them at 6th grade, so they're going to be, becomes normal for them,
Right.
right?
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking, Dave. And I'm also afraid, and you know, people can roll their eyes, but we've been lucky that we haven't been hit with an attack. And you and I both know around us, our school systems have been wiped with attacks.
Right.
And we're lucky we haven't. Knock on.
Well, we've been attacked, they haven't come in.
I meant, but
Yeah,
there are some that have had to
Right.
pay hefty,
Oh, yeah.
and we haven't.
And have been out for a while.
well, not only have we
Part of
haven't
the crib
paid,
sheet.
but we've also recovered.
Right.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm telling all of you right now, there will be a day that comes that will impact in some way our network.
does this guarantee that doesn't happen?
No,
No,
give me $1 million and I can still not
Well,
guarantee that won't happen.
That was the quote I was going with from the
Yeah.
last presentation.
Exactly. I mean, we're dealing with state-sponsored actors, right, who have much deeper pockets than Monroe, okay, or even the state of Connecticut. And it's happening at all levels of government, schools, municipalities. I just got an alert the other day. Somebody was, there was spam emails coming from the state of Connecticut, from the Department of Administrative Services. The commissioner's email didn't get hacked, but somebody was sending out emails from the commissioners using the commissioner's name purporting to be from the state of Connecticut. You know, it was probably a Google account, but, you know, people see the name, ooh, you know, and they don't pay attention, so.
Well, will this be to staff as well? Is it, you know, we're gonna relegate, staff has to use Chromebooks?
No, no, staff are assigned laptops.
All right, so are we okay? Great discussion, by the way. I like this when we're all challenging and asking questions. And we'll discuss it again.
What's the takeaway? Do we have policy committee working on this?
I think the takeaway is what I'm asking is,
Are we
are we comfortable with this?
Right.
All right, to let them move forward and go ahead, all right? And then the follow-up to this is, we will need a draft for policy for your September meeting. And then it goes through that whole process, whether it's changing current or adding a new one. Because this is a mandate now, and the what ifs. So are we okay with this? I am.
I am.
You don't need a
It's
vote
good.
for it to go to policy.
No.
No.
And you already
No.
budgeted for the computers, so.
They're buying them
I mean,
anyway.
they're buying them anyway, so there's really not much for us to
No,
go forward with.
conceptually, we're all in.
I
Okay.
think the only thing we'd want to do is at least get it to parents so they know that, hey, by the way, you know, so they're not buying stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Communication,
Right.
right?
You know.
Yeah.
So when
Is
would
to be
you
able
need
to
know that by?
communicate that, yeah.
Usually if they buy something, usually they
So
tend to
some-
buy it at the end of this, you know, towards the end of the summer.
Right.
But, I mean, the quicker we can give them, at least let them know that this is coming. This is why we're starting it smaller too, with just 6th through 8th.
It's all in communication and getting it out before summer, if you can.
Right, I would say, I would tell the
Because if
fifth
not,
grade
it's-
parents like ASAP.
Right, yeah,
Yep.
agreed.
You don't need to
That-
buy one. Yeah.
Right, and that it's a mandated computer that your child will have to use all school year.
They're gonna get one, don't buy one.
Yeah.
'Cause you'll have to return it.
Okay.
Oh, they won't have to return it.
Well, no. They can donate it to the school. Any other questions, comments? No? Thank you, Paul.
Good job.
Very good
Thank you.
discussion, everybody. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to unfinished business, which there is none of. So we're going to move forward with number 10, new business, approval of the 23-24 rate fees schedule, tuition fees, and facility use fees. Vote anticipated. The fees came out. I hope everybody got a chance to look at them. Any questions on anything for Ron or Joe on this? Seems pretty standard to me. Question I had, Joe, is do we rent the pool out still for birthday parties and the like?
Every once in a
Or
while,
ski?
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, normally birthday parties are handled
Because
in parks.
that wouldn't be the daily fee of $725, would it? For
That'd be like for a full day. It would be like a, yeah, you would prorate
because
it.
I didn't see that on there, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Dennis?
One more stupid question. When we have outside people use our fields, right, outside of town,
Mhm.
is there a charge, or should there be a charge, for ambulance standby? I mean, we have volunteer ambulance corps here, but if they have sports that require standby, do we put a fee on us? Is that on the town, or is that just on insurance? I don't know.
I'm sorry, Dennis, are you saying like, so if there's if like some outside organization, a lacrosse
Yeah, one side of the
organization
field, right.
uses the field, they're
We
usually.
can't mandate an ambulance, I don't think we can.
No,
but,
we
you
can't.
know.
Usually they're responsible though to have medical on
Right.
site.
So we don't collect the fee on that,
We
that's
don't.
just theirs responsibility, okay.
It's their
That's-
responsibility. Yeah.
Why it was a stupid question.
Yeah.
No, those
Most of the time, there's not.
There's not, I was gonna say, the only time is football games. That's the only time EMS is on
That's the only
site.
time our EMS is on site.
No,
That's-
there's
Any-
no other games that have
Any.
Right,
EMS
I know, but
at all.
at what risk, do we have any risk?
They have to have you have to have an insurance policy to even rent
To rent it out.
the field.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I was saying, thanks.
Any other questions or comments on the fee schedule?
I mean, if we change
Go
this,
ahead.
we're changing the budget though, right?
I'm sorry?
If we were to change these are numbers that are already plugged in for next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, we would be essentially changing the
Good
budget.
point. Good point. Only to raise them, not to lower them. Yeah. Anything else? No? Can I have a motion to approve
Should
the
there be
20?
a fee for the
What?
new scoreboard? Sorry, just pushing things.
It's okay. Can I have a motion to approve the 2023-2024 rate fees schedule, tuition fees, and facility use fees as presented at tonight's meeting? Christine, seconded by Dennis. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. We're going to move to item number B, approval of plant maintenance budget transfers, also with a vote anticipated. And Joe, these are for transfers for Dan's budget and maintenance that are over $10,000.
Correct.
Okay, they were in the packet. Any questions on those? They all balanced out when I looked at them. Any questions from anybody on those? No? Okay, then can I have a motion to approve the plant maintenance budget transfer as presented at tonight's meeting? Jerry, looking for a second. Dennis, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. Item number 11, executive session. Where's my sheet of paper, Joe? Can I have a motion for the Board of Education members to enter into executive session to discuss the food service contract for July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and the secretarial contract from July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2026, inviting the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and finance director to attend. Chrissy, seconded by Jerry. Any discussion? I'm going to say that, are we going to go into the back room
We can
over
go
here?
into the back room, yep.
Okay, we're going to discuss these two things, then we have to come back out here to do a vote. How long do you think we're going to be? Should we have
Shouldn't be long.
10, 15 minutes? Could we get it done in 10, you think?
I think so.
So, you want to stay then, Diane? Can you? Okay. All right, so we will come back out. All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you very much. We're in executive session. It is 8:23. I can whisper. I call this out of executive session. We are back in public session right now. Can I ask for a motion to approve the food service contract with Whitson's beginning July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, as presented at tonight's meeting? Jeff, seconded by Dennis. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. May I have a motion to ratify the secretarial contract beginning July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2026, as presented at tonight's meeting? Motion by Dennis, seconded by Chrissy. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Before I kick it over to Jerry, there is no meeting on 2 Mondays from now. Our next meeting is July 17th. Let me know if you're unable to attend. And at that point, Joe and I, after that, Joe and I will talk about whether we're having the August meeting or not. Hopefully, we can wrap everything up in July 17th, because we have a lot of budget stuff to close up.
So it's the 19th, I'm sorry, that we're off.
I'm sorry?
That's
2 Mondays from
June
now,
19th.
there's no meeting. Right, this is it for this
And
month.
July
Thank you.
17th.
So our
would be the
next meeting
one?
is July 17th. Let me know if you cannot attend, because we do have to have a quorum.
I will not be here.
Yeah, I won't
Okay.
be. I won't be here.
Thank you. Okay, so we're down.
Terry sent out the meeting dates for 23-24 the other day, too.
Yes. Okay, anything else? Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, seconded by Shannon. No discussion, unanimous. Aye, good night.
Good night.
Oh, this is your
Have a good summer.
Hey, just a minute.